today, I'm going to focus on just one part of this parable. And let's just remember what parables are, too, before we focus a little. Parables are stories that are usually meant to be provocative. They're not supposed to have easy correlations. They're meant to be provocative. And very often in Scripture, they also are meant to sort of cause someone, usually a religious authority, to have a moment of self-insight in which they realize whatever they've been doing is kind of wrong. So those are two things that often happen when a parable is told. Now, what I want to focus on today is that the master entrusted these three servants with the master's money. Now, we might get caught up in the thought that there's some uneven distribution in there, and there's a little thread of that in Matthew's telling of it. Whether that's original to Jesus' words, I don't know. But we do know different amounts were given. And the parable can be read as a judgment against those who think that they deserve what they have earned, although in the end it all gets returned to God, right? It could also be read as a judgment against those who are unaware about how precious the gift they have been given is. It's probably more the way I'm thinking we're going today. Now I want to pause a moment. So you may have imagined in your mind a few coins that were put into someone's hand, and there's no question that my cover image sort of plays up on that because it works pretty well as a visual image. But talent is not the name of a coin. Talent is actually a measurement of weight that was used specifically for money. So this happens, like with cars, we use miles per hour, but if you're in a boat, you use knots. So you create this whole different measurement, system. Well, that's what happened in the ancient world, that there was a talent measurement as opposed to the usual types of measurements. And a talent equaled 6,000 denarii. So when you think talent, think big bag o' money. I'm talking big, because 6,000 talents weighed about 75 pounds. Now, I couldn't pick up 75 pounds. Greg, can you pick up 75 pounds? Yeah, he can pick up 75 pounds. All right. I'm going to give my talents to you then. And we also know from our biblical reading that many wage workers got one denarius for 1 day of work. So 6,000 would have been 6,000 days of work of money, which is 16 years of work. So one talent is 16 years worth of work. So by any measure, the guy who got this one talent, one big bag of 75 pounds of coins, was rich indeed. And I started thinking, it's not all that easy to bury something that's 75 pounds. So it took some effort for this guy to think about getting rid of the money in a way that it would be stored and out of everybody's eyes and not likely to be stolen. That was some work to avoid investing that money. So all this casts the choices in a slightly new light. Also, we need to remember that for those who worked for masters as stewards, the agreement was that their job was to help manage and make money out of the master's money, and the way they got paid was, in effect, to keep a percentage of the earnings for themselves. So what happens in this story was pretty much the norm, that you would have been entrusted with these resources, and you would have gone and invested them, made some money for the master and some for yourselves. Now we, again, get ourselves a little caught up when we listen to this story in the fact that uneven amounts are given to these three servants, as if that is not the way the world works. I mean, after all, one is born in America, another in the slums of India. One is born quite beautiful in appearance and another quite homely. One is born in a stable and the other in a castle. One is born in the midst of a loving family and another in a family that has been frayed. One inherits the Hilton fortune and another inherits a lobster boat. Second, we are always just under-reading what has been given even to the least of these. So again, if we get our heads around this talent, oh my goodness, even the least receiving one has received an amazing privilege and blessing. It's an awesome amount that has been entrusted to the one. And this is true for us as well. We too have been entrusted with an awesome amount. Friends, family, education, a town that is beautiful and far away from war, the daily pleasures of looking at water and at beautiful landscapes, the sunrise and the sunset, shelter, access to joy, places to visit, modern technology, fresh food, a washing machine, clothes, a pet or two, a church family, and so on and so forth. We have not been given just one little coin. We have been given bags and bags and bags of resources. This has been entrusted to us. Entrusted. It's not ours. We did not make it. We do not necessarily deserve it. We do not own it. So vastly much has been lavished upon us, and we are entrusted with these resources. And so no matter how much you want to quibble with the parable, with all the things around it and the troubles in it, we know that we can at least pull this message out of it. We have all been entrusted with a great deal that is our master's, but it has been given to us in trust. And we all know that in the end, God is likely to ask an accounting of what we have done with that. How did we spend our days to add days for others? Did we share our joy? Did we use our skills to make beauty, our money to enrich others, our shelter to offer hospitality, our education to lift others, our peace to bring peace to others, our technology to serve others, our money to bless others. We are all richly entrusted with vast gifts from God's bounty. May we rejoice in that. May we invest. May we invest that God's kingdom may flourish.